If you bought a boat recently, and we're not in wildly different tax brackets, you've seen a lot of dodgy wiring. Now, the boats I'm looking at, the boats I'm working on, most of the time they're from the 70s, maybe the 80s, and over their lifespan they have had a lot of different wiring solutions in situ. I've seen morettes, I've seen automotive connectors, I've seen soldered connections, I've even seen the positive lead for a water pump soldered directly to some copper tubing. So the question is, at what point do you make the call and switch the wiring, update it to ABYC standard, and get yourself something a little bit safer? It was a tough call on my boat because it's had many generations of wiring, and some of those generations are better than others, and tempted me to keep them. In the end, because I was already buying so many spools of wire, it wasn't that much more work for me to just scrap what was already there and start completely fresh. But that's not always the best way to do it. Running wire behind some of these panels can be extremely difficult and time-consuming and may involve a serious amount of deconstruction for not that much gain. So in this episode, we're going to go over some of the wiring on my boat, and we're going to help Ryan rewire his boat.
Spaghetti. All right. Good morning. We're back in the electrical cabinet. I like to work in here on rainy days and in my evenings because it's something I get to do in my pajamas, which is really nice. I've also been working on this basically as the parts have been coming in. So all of these 48 volt breakers have come in, and each one of them controls a different system that either feeds into the bus bars or feeds off of the bus bars. So right here is the breaker for the main inverter charger, which does both, actually feeds off of and into the bus bars. Right now, this is the Renogy battery set, and this is the Temgo battery set. Both of them are 48 volt, but they're on separate breakers, so they're cut off from the system. And then down here, we have the two Xantrex 40 amp charge controllers, and those will be for a wind turbine and probably a alternator setup that feeds off the generator, off the engine. And down here I have the 12 volt bulk converter, so when the 48 volt system is powered on, I can clip these two breakers, and then my system is feeding the 12 volt charging off of the 48 volt. It's a lot of power, so I've been using these pretty skookum 1 gauge terminals, but in order to fit these breakers as close as they are to the bus bar, I can't actually use those terminals because they take up too much space. And not only is there no wire, I actually would have to trim down the terminals, all of which is expensive. And essentially what I'm doing is a continuous copper bar from one end to the other. And I said, well, I've got copper. Why don't I just bend that and drill that and then make it nice, and I'll be just as good and have clean terminals here. So we're going to do that now.
So you could tell this is an evening and rainy day activity because I'm about to go take some copper tubing, beat it with a hammer, work it over until I've got roughly the right shape, test fit several times, and then grind everything to shape and to fit perfectly before I tin the whole thing and then heat shrink it. This is very tedious for just a couple of bus bars.
Wow, look at that. When you tin plate your copper, it gets into the inside of the hole, obviously, and shrinks the diameter of the freaking hole. So now it doesn't fit. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to get the taper drill back out here again. Alright, here we go. Let's see if I can get it now. Just about. Alright, isn't that pretty? I'm using these little tiny zip tie screw-in spacers. These are kind of, I guess, standard issue for a lot of people doing installations. I really like them because not only do they allow me to control where the lines are going very precisely, if I ever need to access this stuff, I could just cut the zip ties, and, you know, bag of zip ties is like $5 or whatever. But also, it holds all the wires, you know, a couple of millimeters off the back plate here, So any dust that could accumulate doesn't. It like falls off and falls to the ground and I can sweep it up. So this all stays a lot cleaner as a result. I really like that. These little bus bars came out great, and now I have the system powered on. I still have covering boards for these. I could install them in a second and finish my wind turbine setup, charger setup over here. But yeah, it's coming along good. Need a light in here, definitely. All right, check this out. Oh, there we go. This is Temgo's 300 amp hour 12 volt system, essentially your entire house battery bank in a single battery. I've already got a 280 amp hour battery for my 12 volt system on my boat, so this one is going into Ryan's boat. And that means that we need to go over Ryan's entire 12 volt system and update it for the 21st century, including some nice lithium. Let's go get it installed. Now, this is the equivalent of 6 lead acid batteries. So it's pretty incredible that I can carry it over my head like this. And that is, of course, nothing new in the lithium world. The densities have been getting better and better, and Temgo's 300 amp hour is no different. But what is different is all the incredible features at this price range that they offer. I'm constantly impressed every year how much better these batteries get, and Tembo's got a good one right here. Okay, it's light, but it's not that light. Spaghetti.
So much
It's a little spaghetti, the great big meatball.
Here's the components that we're gonna install.
Okay, we have lots of components, and we have old school wiring harness. Although it's not too bad. I've seen far worse.
This
It's supposed to be
used,
deactivated entirely.
other than they're definitely grounding some shit on that stuff.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Let me give you the tour. This is the tour of the fucked electrical. I think we put the lithium battery here, and we keep the other bank as the starter bank. So currently, we have a black cable off of the positive and a black cable off of the negative, and they both run that way.
But one of them has green tape on it.
Yeah, I'm starting to remove some of the green tape. There's some nice soldered connections with no heat shrink, just electrical tape.
I'd love to see it.
May I never become the previous owner that messes everything up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some people swear by the solder thing. I don't get it, but
He also put 300 amp MRBFs on these,
okay.
and some of those cables will absolutely catch fire before 300 amp blows, especially on the other bank.
Yeah. Well, the other ones have fuses right here. Like that's definitely gonna.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that a fusible link, or is that just a
Uh,
disconnect?
Yeah, that's off the charger. Which, like, that's coming out and everything, too. And then they've just, like, grounded some stuff directly to the batteries, too.
Okay.
This side is honestly not as bad as the other side.
All right, well, let's go look at the other side then.
This is where most of the spaghetti begins, and some of it ends. And I still don't know what half of this stuff is. Nice cloth insulation wire that runs straight to the battery selector that's powering the engine and everything.
Whoa, my God.
And then the last owner decided to use 2-strand wire and just not use half of it. And so he's just using this as a positive for something.
Sometimes, you know, you're at sea and you gotta do a quick fix. That's what that looks like to me. Considering the heat shrink's
There-
not even shrunk.
Yeah, there's a lot of heat shrink that's not even shrunk. And, you know,
It's a going
you
trend.
never have a lighter around, I guess, when you have a propane stove, right? And there's a lot of stuff like where he's used like 14.2 or whatever the hell this is,
Yeah.
and only used one, and then, you know, like the ground is grounded out like a bus bar or something. which is not like, I don't know, it's not the worst thing on here, but it just seems like a waste. And now
All right,
it's
well
bigger
then
than
let's
the
see
seat.
what is the worst thing that you've discovered on this. What's the greatest sin?
Honestly, that cloth wire scares me the most.
Cloth wire, yeah. This is some old school stuff.
Battery 1. The black positive from bank 2 that is forward would be here. And then we have our out to the main house bus bar and our out to start the engine.
ABYC has changed a little bit over the years, and so this black ground, for instance, is a thing that has changed over to yellow because there's actually a lot of other lines in a boat that are also black, like fuel lines and sometimes coolant lines, and it's nice not to have those confused with each other, especially once they've sat in a bilge or once the numbers and labeling have failed on them. It's nice to be able to tell what you're looking at. And I've learned that over the years. It's very useful to color code things and to label things. And so we're going to go through all of the unlabeled things on this boat and toss what can be tossed and clean up what has to stay. First things first, we're going to tear out the old lead acid house bank. We're going to clear that space up and get ready for the new lithium. But while we're there, we're also going to replace all the dodgy copper that's connected to those banks with some fresh tinned ABYC compliant copper. We're going to add a couple of bus bars, and Ryan's going to work on that while I switch over to the now defunct electrical panel and reroute all of the engine wiring back to the new panel and the new switch and new DC to DC.
What is that?
What?
Oh my god. Getting the wires tied down nice and clean is the start of the battle, but then you've got to get them terminaled and at the exact right length so that everything fits snugly. Now, what I like to do is leave a little extra, then chop it down to size and fit it onto the tools that they're going to fit onto, then bolt everything down. Now that we've removed a considerable amount of old copper, we're starting to put in some new copper. So we've got a DC to DC over here, we've got an MPPT charge controller back here with a main solar switch, and we're running everything the same way we did on the boat with nice, clean zip tie downs and decent breakers. So still have to do the whole switch. We got another full 8-hour day just to finish the systems and get them up and operational again. And there's still a couple of mystery wires we don't know anything about. We got to get this battery in now. We're also adding some fuses and breakers so there's no possibility of an electrical fire in the future, and Ryan's boat will be much safer for it. It's an important reminder that these batteries are lithium iron phosphate. They will smoke out and heat up, but they will not catch fire the way that the lithium ions in a Tesla or your cell phone or laptop might. And because we have fuses and breakers before every load makes its way to a common bus bar, we're doing a lot better for the safety of this vessel. Slotting in that Temgo battery, it is almost a factory perfect fit. We've got it strapped down, really happy with the spacing and the allocation, and now Ryan has roughly 3 to 4 times the battery capacity he used to. The little touchscreen on top also helps with diagnosing any kinds of issues.
Charging at 2.5 amps. There you are.
You can disconnect the battery from the entire system and still get a status report on the battery.
So the nice thing about this battery, besides being literally the exact maximum size that could fit in your settee right here, is also that it's a heated battery. It's temperature protected, so it won't charge below 0 degrees. And it's also got its own heater, so it warm itself back up before it charges. So because you have the Victron charger and it'll charge in a 0 volt condition, like it could be like -20, and you could start getting solar power. And what'll happen is the electricity coming in will heat up the battery first, and then it'll start, once the battery is warm enough, actually charging the battery. On top of that, you have a Bluetooth module in here, and all of that in 300 amp hours is only $800. I think 815 on sale Canadian right now. It's pretty crazy because most of the 100 amp hours are about $400. So for buy 2 get 1 free plus heating plus Bluetooth plus everything else. So it's a pretty spectacular deal. I've been using Temgo's 48 volt 100 amp hour battery for about 6 months now. It's been an absolute flawless battery. No complaints. I mean, the best thing about a good working battery is one that you don't have to think about
Ryan's boat set up with 300 amp hours of 12 volt self-heating, temperature protected, and Bluetooth module, and a little display screen on top for diagnosing and that kind of thing. Pretty sweet little deal. All we had to do was rewire the entire boat. But if you'd like to buy one of these, good news, you don't have to rewire an entire boat to get one. You can just hit up the link in the description. Temgo's got these things on sale for like 815 Canadian dollars right now. It's a really good deal. So go scoop some up, and thank you very much, Temgo, for sending this battery out for Ryan. I'm sure he's going to get many, many good years out of this thing. So do you need to rewire your boat? Well, not necessarily, but does it pass the 2 a.m. test? So a stranger, after 2 martinis at 2 o'clock in the morning, while the boat's taking on too much water and it doesn't have any power, or maybe there's electrical fire or something going on, can they figure it out? Right? And if they can't, well then simplify things, clean them up, make it right. ABYC is a great thing, a great resource. There's lots of great information there, and you guys can hit up YouTube videos and learn to ask the questions you don't even know to ask yet. So there's a lot of equipment and gear out there that will make your job a lot simpler. Those zip ties, great little solution for tidy, clean operation. You want your nice tinned copper. You want everything color-coded correctly so it's easy to tell apart. And of course, labeling. Label, label, label. Very, very nice. Anyways, that's it. That's all. If you guys are interested in that Temgo battery, the link is in the description. I'm going to get back to work on this engine. See you guys next week.